All right, well, did he just want to go back to Mitch?
That's what I'm trying to figure out right now. I'm like, I don't know. But I get
Or
what
do you
he's
want
saying in the
McSwirly?
sense of like, we've already seen it. So why is it coming off like this is very different this go around when technically the variables are a lot worse for him going into this situation Saturday than they have ever been in any of his other opportunities. But yet, we sit in it like it's going. I'm with the positive vintage, you know that. But when I seen that, I was like, "Dang, bro, yikes!"
Yeah, it's
It
Mason.
caught me off guard. I was like, "Yo."
I mean, it's Mason.
But I'm like, I get it. But I'm like,
It's the NFL.
Yeah.
Anything could happen. So there's that. But I've seen enough from Mason
Yeah.
to understand that he is Mason. That's probably the best description of him.
And I think
Mason's
that's
Mason.
kind of where he's at with it. It's like,
I'll give you my own Tomlinism there. Mason is Mason.
yeah, right.
Dekeism.
But I think you saying Mason is a little different than how people are optimistically putting their thoughts on Mason. And I think that's kind of the disconnect. But I'm like, bro, you still don't have I just like, yo, everybody was giving it the good energy, man. Just dunk on us all like that, man. Don't dunk on us like that, baby. We want what AJ Martinez wants. We want 420 passing yards with 4 touchdowns. All right. That's what we're looking for.
I think it just goes hand in hand with me continuing to say Kenny Pickett is the best option.
Nah.
So if Kenny's healthy, we're going Kenny over Mason. And I even feel like the people that are against Kenny should want that too. Because we invested a first-round pick in the dude just a couple years back.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you want more of a sample size of the guy?
No.
Especially after he's coming off of a game and a half of solid performances without Matt Canada. So don't you want 3 more games with him without Matt Canada where we still have a chance for the playoffs?
Mm-hmm.
So we still want to win out to have that 80% chance maybe come to full fruition here. Don't you want to see that? Coming off an injury, back up against the wall? We should want to see that because that'll just give us more of a sample size. Could maybe make the picture more clear for us in the offseason of what to do at the quarterback position.
Your perspective, 100%, yes.
But then if you're like me too and actually do want to make the playoffs and win out and not tank, then again, I think Kenny Pickett is the best quarterback on this roster.
So, like I said, with your perspective, I definitely can understand that. I just know it's the other side of that thing where they're like, we've already seen what we've seen. We don't need to see more of the same
when
stuff.
he's in.
That's how they look at it.
When he's in, we win.
Also, to specifically speak to that part, this was the first time all year we've heard Coach Tomlin say specifically we need to score more than 16 points. This is the first time defensively where we are really banged up to the point where we know this is not the same defense from the earlier portion of the season. So that was also at play where it was like, we know the whole joke with Kenny was they're winning in spite of, right? Defense got to do everything. He does the last little bit, gets all the credit. We were saying with Mason, hey, you probably ain't going to get that luxury just because of how banged up they are on that side. So that's the part where, once again, it's like, were they really winning because of Kenny? Or were they winning with all of this and he had his portion that he was still doing, but his portion did not outweigh what that defensive stuff was doing? So that's the side that, like I said, I can understand them saying that, man.
Well, you see what Mitch was doing, and he was doing the opposite.
Mitch
Pickett
has had
helped
the
us
banged
win.
up defense, though. That's what I'm saying. Remember, the defense has been banged up now. So that's all the argument with it. You're a Kenny supporter, so you're going to lean optimistic around him.
Patriots game, I think that's more of a different story.
Bro, however, you know how I go. You're one of the people that are going to rock with Kenny. So you're rocking with him as you should. It's another side to it, though.
Just from the offense as a whole in 2023, not putting up enough points, sure, but we also haven't seen Kenny for these last 2.5 weeks, and that's one of the things that we're getting with Kenny right now. He's not as available as we would like, but the game and a half that we saw without Matt Canada, offense was looking fine with him. So my argument is I think the offense looks a lot better if we have Kenny these last 2.5 weeks, but we don't get to see that.
Like I said, I get both sides of it. I definitely could get where you coming from, man. Definitely can. And I get where they coming from, too. It's like I see both of them.
Kenny contributed to us winning games when he was in, even though he wasn't putting up the fantasy stats and stuff. And Mitch wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Just flat out, we lost when Mitch was in there. Just flat out.
Mm-hmm.
Dude was throwing the picks and being
Like
a little more reckless
when
with the
you
ball.
minimize it to just that, sure. All I'm saying is it's just another side that they not gonna go for that though. Where they like, oh yeah, when he was here was that, when he was here was that. It's like, no.
Oh, I know. There's people that have already wrote off Kenny. That's whatever. I'm not necessarily talking to them. Maybe I am because I'm also saying like, let's see what this dude got for another 3 games here, rest of the season, no matter what. Like why do people want to see Mason? Is it just? I think they just don't care anymore. That's what it is.
To an extent, yes. To an extent, I think they also want to see how bad it can get. If Mason come out there and stink it up even more, will that get the big changes that they might be wanting? At the same time, I'm sure some people look at it, hey, if Mason come out there and play, maybe now we don't have to worry about Kenny. Sure, some people just got that in their energy. But either way, it's like we need whoever it is to be out there, whether it's Mason, Kenny, Mitch, whoever it is, they got to play better. And that's what ultimately we got to get, man.
AJ Martinez, now or never, his career depends on it. The cheetah is back, but in the QB room, and his leash says Canada rules. We unleashing hell with the 2 for you, Steeler Nation.
If he gets to go, what's the report? What the practice report say today, man?
Kenny was bumped up to 2. He was number 4 on the pecking order yesterday.
What was that participation looking like? Let's see what that participation looked like. Because it was what limited yesterday.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, but they say this, it's getting close. It's getting close.
If he's at 2,
right.
Tomorrow he better be at 1.
Do you have any thoughts on them handling this, like how when Ben was hurt and we started Landry Jones, Cleveland Browns game? Granted, Landry gets hurt the first
limited,
3 plays.
So they have Kenny as limited.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
I
you
was
remember
trying to think today's Wednesday, right?
Yeah, so tomorrow will be their Friday practice then. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But going back to, like I said, that this is what, 2016 I think it was? Ben gets hurt.
Right.
Landry is supposed to be the starter. Going to the Browns game, Ben is actually available. He dresses. He does not start. Landry ended up getting hurt after, like I think, like the first 2 series. Ben comes in, lights it up. All that other stuff is great. But we were all shocked at that time of like, yo, you really got Ben on the sideline. He practiced with us. Like, we know he's healthy enough to be dressed. Why aren't he out here?
That was actually just straight up smart because you were playing the Browns at the time.
Either way, this is Ben Roethlisberger we talking about, man. Do you think there's a case that he might do the same thing with Kenny?
Oh yeah,
because like that was Ben, bro.
We were
shocked.
Going back to his initial press conference when he broke the news, he didn't clearly say, unless I missed it.
No, I heard it the same way you heard it.
I talked to my neighbor yesterday.
We heard it the same way,
and he said if Kenny's able to go, he's going to be the starter. I was like, oh, I missed that part of the press conference.
He didn't
He's like,
say
it's
that.
In there.
No,
so he might. I don't know if he misheard or he was just flat out lying.
I didn't hear that part.
But
okay.
I just heard Tolman say Mason's going to be the starting quarterback this week, and then Kenny's availability is up in the air depending on what the doctors say.
Yeah, I heard it the same way you heard it.
So Kenny could be available, but does that necessarily mean he's going to be the starter? Yeah. That's my question.
Because I'm like, do they do it like how Seattle just did it with Geno and Drew Lock?
That should be the case. If he's good to go, he should start.
Seeing Geno and Drew Lock, they literally didn't announce who was starting that until right after like Warren was going off a coin toss.
Little gamesmanship there.
I'm with you, but they went with the backup, not the guy that's got $100 million now.
How good was he to go? That's the thing we're never going to be able to answer.
True, but they dressed him. If
they left the light on for him.
I'm like, if you dress, man, you know that feeling's like, bro, you got a helmet, you good to go today. It's gonna be interesting.
That's what I would assume, particularly with Kenny, because the Ben situation's unique.
Mm-hmm.
You know what you have in Ben. He's your franchise.
But it wasn't the end of the season.
It was in the middle of it. But to put Landry out there against the Browns, you get what they're trying to do. Just give Ben an extra week to potentially heal it up. Maybe we can get out of the stadium with a dub without Ben.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I get what they were doing there. Whereas this is different. Kenny more unproven. And then you just don't know how hurt. Like Ben, if that was a playoff game, Ben would have been able to go.
We would have definitely hoped so. I'm like, we was all shocked. Like, why is he not? What are you doing, coach? Put him out there.
So that's the thing. If they do actually dress Kenny,
but he was dressed.
If Mason goes down, Kenny would go in. He should be able to start the game then. So no, I would not like it if Tomlin does something like that for this.
But literally, this is the only time it made me think of that was because of that scenario where literally 7 was coming back limited, but still dressed, and we for certain started Landry. And if he doesn't get hurt, who knows? Maybe 7 don't even play the game.
Right.
But it gave 7 a chance to get the record for it was most points or yardage off the bench or something like that. Landry got the win. So
yeah,
it was,
a
incredible.
Good little,
yeah. Trust me, I enjoyed that game. It was a vibe, bro. I thought I had me a pick. Just was a little fumble recovery. It was a dope game, bro. Shout out, man. Absolutely.
But yeah, if Kenny can go in whatever capacity,
yeah,
he should be out there.
All right. Respect.
But I don't know what they're gonna do. I didn't think Tomlin was that clear on it.
I will say this. Now, granted, it's early when you're watching some of the videos from practice because when the media are there, they're just there for the warm-up portion. For anything, no, I thought Mason looked like he was moving better. I thought Kenny still was kind of just getting it in. But at the same time, it's warm-ups. One guy's coming off of a surgery. The other guy is deemed the starter, at least on paper, going into this game. So I'm like, I don't know how much of that is at play, but just from what I saw, I'm like, one did look a little bit more healthier than the other one.